Hey YouTube, this is Shannon and I'm here to help you with a VLOOKUP tutorial in Excel. So, why would you use a VLOOKUP? Well, basically you would use a VLOOKUP essentially in the real world, especially the business field and accounting field, to look up specific information or a specific value in a batch of information. So in the real world, you will have spreadsheets that will have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of rows of information. And your boss is going to ask you for a specific amount of information that you will need to pull out of all of those rows. Of course, it would be very time consuming to go through each row manually, which is why the VLOOKUP is a very, very handy tool in that situation. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do the VLOOKUP. So in our example that we have today, I don't have that many rows because it would basically defeat the point of showing you this. But in this example, I have a list of names and their favorite color. So say, for example, that your boss comes to you and says, hey, I want to know what Timothy's favorite color is. All right, well, I'm going to show you how to get that information from using the VLOOKUP formula. So we're going to type in Timmy's name under name, and then we are going to go ahead and put in this formula. So the first thing that you see is the lookup value. As you can see, the lookup value, is basically what is the information that you're trying to look up. What is the information that you want Excel to look up? So in our example, we want Excel to look up Timmy's name in this here column. So we're going to click on E4, and that's going to be what Excel is going to look up. So it's going to look up Timmy in this table. Our next step, the table array. Where are we pulling our information from? What table are we using to pull our information from, essentially? So in this example, we're going to go ahead and highlight this whole entire table. And then for a recommendation, a personal recommendation, I would just go ahead and lock everything in that table. That way it doesn't move around. It keeps all the names on that table and it never moves, because it'll get very chaotic if your formula starts to, not capture all of the names and you start to have error signs. So our next thing is the column index number, which is essentially just what column is the information that we're trying to get in. So in our example, we want to know their favorite color. So we're going to put in a 2 because 1, 2. It's going to be in column 2 of that table. Now, it all depends on where your information is, okay, in your table. If it was in column 4, you would put a 4. If it was in column 10, you would put a 10. All depends on what kind of information you are trying to get. So in our example, we're going to go ahead and put a 2. And our last part of this formula is going to be the range lookup. Essentially, you have two options, true or false. For true, it basically means that it's going to be an approximate match. They're going to try and approximately match Timmy's name to anybody on this list. So if you had maybe not that many rows of information like I have here, you could probably get away with using true as an option for the range lookup for an approximate match of Timmy's name. Now if you had 100 rows or 100,000 rows worth of information, I would just go ahead and get false, because for false, it's going to look up the exact information, the exact match of Timmy's name on this list, which is, of course, probably what you want all the time, in my opinion, but some people do use true. So I'm just going to go ahead and put false, and it registers at false. And then you can hit OK, and it comes up with his name. Now, you'll know when your VLOOKUP works if you can put somebody else's name in here. So, for example, we're going to do Tom. And look, Tom is right there. And I'll go ahead and highlight that for you. Or we can put in a name that I know is down at the bottom, Tammy. And look at that, pink and purple. and pink and purple. So that's when you definitely know that your VLOOKUP has worked. When you know that no matter what name you put in, it's going to come back with the correct value or their favorite color. And let me just show you what happens when you put in a name that's not on there. So I'm doing Tommy. It's going to say NA. If it says NA and you know that there's a name on here, that means you need to recheck your VLOOKUP formula and just go through each line and say, hey, what does this line mean? Hey, what does lookup value mean? Hey, what does column index number mean? And hey, you guys, practice makes perfect. Go ahead, create this table and do it for yourselves and see if it works. The only way you're going to know if you learned how to do this VLOOKUP is if you do this example and you get the result that you're supposed to get. Now, just let me know if there's anything that you don't understand in the comments below. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any way that I can improve upon on this Excel tutorial, there will be a lot more tutorials coming. So I definitely want to help you guys understand everything about Excel, especially with the formulas, because once you see how it's done and you actually go ahead and do it, you will master Excel. And this is just the beginning stages. Like I said, subscribe, like, let me know how I can improve upon on my videos, and there will definitely be more content coming for you guys. And this is Shannon signing off.